Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, good everything to wherever you are on this planet. This is
Plain it,
Bongversations,
plain tea,
plain,
plain tea. Yeah,
Bongversations episode number 39 on the
39.
20th of July 2025. That's my end in Australia, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm underneath, I'm way down the bottom, apparently upside down, struggling. I don't know how I'm managing to hang on to the floor, uh, but I'm still
Hanging like an ape.
hanging like an ape. James,
Yeah, off the
what
bottom.
wonderful baffling information are you going to give us today?
Yeah, we're up to 39. So the first thing I was going to do is lay out, what we've talked about 3-9 as being. So you have the ring and the idol. So now this is the ring. This is the ring that rules them all. This is the manifestation of the 369. Because you notice interestingly enough, if you remember, we talked about how you overlay the three, it can hide itself, or if it mirror reverses, it'll create the 8. But then what's think about what you if you overlay the 9 on 3, just the way that the 2 are, and then you let it fall to the left, it spells, or it looks like cursive on, like you're turning something on. So I so then kind of when you're looking at how numbers transcribe into letters, or into ideas, that then in itself, 39 is really the on switch. So then,
ON.
yeah, ON, and then
Yeah.
the opposite is OFF, the idea of going away, right? So the
Yep.
OFF is also a version of 666, isn't it? Because you have
It
the
is.
O,
It,
which
it
is
is
15,
15. O 15.
and then
Yeah.
the
F
F
six.
six
F
six.
six.
So
100%.
yeah, man. So you turn this on, so which is the 15, so that would be the 6 into the 5, all right? Because ON, so that's the 14th letter and the 15th letter, so you have the 6 plus the 5, right?
Number 11.
11, 2, concern. You know 2 already the second number. 2 is the concern of this thing. And what is this thing? Well, let's look at what 39 also represents. It's the same as some words which you can now hear when you hear news events, or even TV or movies, or what genre it's in. The word afraid equals 39. So then
Ooh.
sometimes you have the emotional, I'm afraid, but then you also have, within news, they'll sneak it in by saying authorities are afraid X, Y, or Z. See how
Yep.
then that idol is then popped into your mind? It's also the same as cope. So you're dealing or coping with. It's the same as engage or enable, both of them. Either way, it's still the same idea as turning on. It's also 10, TEN, which is the IO, input output.
Well,
It's also meta, just like the meta script. So if you buy the meta script, you're in it. It's also Shiba. So the idea of the destruction, which brings in now CERN and the idea of colors, and that's into the anti colors or Easter egg colors, which is your pastels and that type thing, or neon colors, colors derived
interesting.
from what we've talked about before, the gases. All the different gases create your different neon, or kind of light colors, which are anti colors. They're kind of Easter egg colors. They're more pastels.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then so then you also, and here's the big one, Abaddon. Abaddon, uh,
Abaddon.
yeah, Abaddon, yeah,
Abaddon.
Abaddon 39. So then that brings up your Revelation 9:11, and they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, but in Greek tongue hath his name Apollyon. Now, Apollyon ties in directly to the Trump character.
Yeah,
Just
and
very recently. Yeah.
Napoleon, and
Mm-hmm.
Trump. Yeah.
Anyway, Abaddon is Abaddon. So a bad dawn, a
Bad Don.
bad
Yeah.
dawn. So Don Trump. So a bad dawn, and also a dawn is the idea of a gangster boss. right?
Oh yeah.
Now then,
Yep.
what two letters then can equal 39? Well, you have ox, OX, which if you then just put that into overlay those two, you can see if you simply rotate it back the same distance that we rotated the on, we rotate it back up. Then now you have really just your symbol of your four elements,
Is it
right?
also an antichrist symbol, the OX, the
Well, yeah,
sign with the
it's the
X in it?
idea of turning the elements to on their side. And
Fantastic.
of course, the idea is that that then represents where if you turn that, if you have the plus in the circle and you rotate it to the left, the same way we kind of rotated the to make the ons cursive. If you rotate it, then that's going to be basically if you had one on the cross, that would be where the spear goes. All right, the spear, goes into the side, you know, and then that's the separation of water and blood. or the idea of birth or coming into the system. So then you get crucified to an idea. Because once you have taken an idea or a Satan, which this is, because it also equals uh, uh, IBIS, which is the soul, but it's one letter away from Iblis, which is Satan, and that's the letter L,
That's interesting.
which is
That's interesting
12.
because
Yeah.
that's an Egyptian symbol too, isn't it? The
Yeah.
ibis.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So then that's the 12, Rick, and then 2 plus 1 is 3, G7. So again, you're talking about the mind. So then what does that then represent? But remember, go back to Revelation 3:11, let no man steal your crown, meaning let no man steal mind or then impregnate you mentally with some nonsense. You simply just don't do it. Oh, and before I forget, about the Trump character and why it's relevant to what's going on right now is that it also 30 equal to taco, and you in those that pay attention to
They're
that
calling him.
character,
Yeah, that's what is it?
they
What's it
call him
saying?
taco. Yeah,
Taco. Yeah.
yeah,
And it stands.
always
It's an
chickens
acronym.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Trump always chickens out.
Always chickens out. Yeah.
Yeah, so the idea of so he taco, and now a couple years back I did, which I'll need to put a link to in this. I did this would have been back in 2020, I want to say. I did the Trump taco video, which I'll people watch that.
You've already done
Yeah.
this.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I
So
did it.
you're
I called it
leading the way.
yeah, and I had the Taco Bell. I had the Taco Bell on the cover. Yeah. So
Was this a
we,
word already before this taco? Was he getting called a taco
well, yeah,
before?
because each one of these characters, they play. It's like if you throw a stone in a pond. If you see the first rip, the second ripple is going to be related. Although it's a separate
Yeah.
ripple, it's related to the first. Therefore, you can get a hint of what's to come if you pay attention. You
Yeah.
know. So then, if now if you take the 39, if you just write that on the paper, what's already done, and you see when you overlap it and overlay, it makes on. But if you leave them separated and just take 3 from 9, well, there is your 6, which you know is always going to be there because the 9 just flips over, which gives you your idea of Cancer if you're consuming nonsense. But then also 9 plus 3 is where your 12 is, or your 2 plus 1 is 3. And then, of course, if you go up, the idea of 3 times 9 is 27, and that, of course, is your. And then if you go if you
No. Yeah.
divide, just to kind of create, if you're writing this on a piece of paper, to keep all these stories in line so you know where to put them in the flow chart. But 3
Yeah.
divided by 9, that's gonna be a third. All right. Now, what's interesting about a third is that the way that people write a third is 1/3. Now, what's interesting about the 1/3 is not only can that be seen as 13, or the idea of crown, or the idea of the idea of the gold crown, or the golden idea, or that golden goose which is propelling their body, but also 4. 1 plus 3
Yeah.
is 4. That's the false door, or the dalet, mind da lets, meaning opens up, lets in, Dalet, the idea of the four. So then I wanted to talk about, and because I noticed that people, Harry Potter, and uh, there's no
Always
prizes here.
fascinating.
Get yourself ready to lift your glass, because do you know how many number of books Harry Potter? Of course, there's 7. Now that you have the 7 books that deal with the original Harry Potter line, and that goes through the Philosopher's Stone, the Chamber Pot of Secrets. That's what I always call it.
Yeah, yeah, got you.
The Prisoner of Azkaban was the 3rd one, and the Goblet of Fire. Then you had the Order of Phoenix. The 8th was Half Blood Prince, and then it ended with the Hollows, which leads back to, that's 7th book. But guess what that leads back to? That leads back to 3, because the Deathly Hollows represents the idea of 3 in the book, because there's 3 of them.
Yep. Yep.
So then I was wanting to take a look at, instead of just at the significance of the different characters, just how in the stories that the 3, the 9, and or 39 then kind of show themselves, within the, not only the Harry Potter story, but also what I see is very similar, and in fact pretty much the same story. Now,
Lord of the Rings.
yeah. Now, did you ever read not just the 3, the Fellowship of the Ring, the Two Towers, and the Return of but
Silmarillion
then the Hobbit before that, and then it was followed by the Adventures of Tom Bombadil.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
I
Tom
didn't read them, but
Bombadil.
I know about. I'm pretty versed on those books. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
So
skimmed
Tom
through them.
Bombadil. Yeah. Tom Bombadil is the Satan in all of this, which
You
is,
mentioned that a while ago. Could
yeah.
you elaborate on that? Hmm.
Okay. Well, he's the one who claims to have been there before time, and so he's basically playing then now what, the Antichrist.
Yeah.
because
The It character.
Yeah. So, and then he also is the dancing and singing and frolicking about, like kind of like a Fruit Loop out kind of by himself in the woods. All right. So this guy's kind of giving it away who he is. So
Who he is.
he's a powerful fairy. Right. So he can display power if he wants to, because then the trees will listen, things like that. So he basically becomes the god of this world, or in this case, the Satan character, because then all the
Mm.
different it's not so much in the movies, but in the book, the hobbits will wind up, they spend a little bit of time with him, to the point where you're like leafing ahead a little bit in the book, hoping that they're going to be bouncing soon. It's like, enough already with this guy. So I remember that when I was reading, he was like, is this Tom guy out of here pretty soon? Ugh. Yeah, but
Well, did he feature in the movies? Did he feature in the
no,
film?
no,
No.
no.
We'll look out, because
That would have
obviously it
that would
sounds
have
like an
drove
important.
people out. That would have drove
Oh,
people out,
right.
because there's no, unless you're interested in kind of who it is you're dealing with. It seems like a really random, but now that you know who he is, it's going to make more sense what he's saying. Because before, it's just like some old goofball. It's like, why would we talk to this guy? But now that you know who he is, he's like the serpent or the Satan character. Now, when you
Right.
reread that bit, you're gonna see it a little better. Now,
Yeah.
also, kind of out of the 3 and the 9 work in Harry Potter, for example, you have the Harry, Ron, and Hermione, which are your 3 main characters, and Harry is kind of the courageous, although reluctantly courageous. He's it's kind of foisted upon him.
Yeah.
He also
Hero's journey.
has, yeah, hero's journey, exactly. So he's the one who then is put in the sacrifice position. He's always at the He's always on point. Then you have Ron, which is like the redheaded stepchild character, who's like the heart or the humor, the one you
The
can kick
wacky
around
guy.
a little bit. Yeah,
Yeah,
you can
the
kick him
wacky
around a
guy.
little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then you have Hermione, which is really the little nerdy, logical intelligence of the group. You know, kind of. So
Yep.
you kind of see how
The
that
Lisa
three works.
Simpson. The Lisa
Yeah,
Simpson
yeah,
of
yeah. The
the
Lisa Simpson character, sure. Now, to go back, I wanted to say, and this is important because this can, especially with when you, because there's certain scenes, and there's no called TV that's wasted. It all has meaning. So you just if you're taking the right director as being the caster of the spell, then you just have to then ask yourself, what is this scene trying to say? So then when they go to when they're leaving the so-called real world, and then going off to school to Hogwarts, they go to a train station at King's Cross, 311, right? Or 11-3
That's
in
right.
that case, but
Bang. Yep.
it's
Yep.
but
Bang.
Crown
KC.
Corona, King's Cross. And and just in case I failed to mention it, I'll jump all the way to the end and say that one of the last Horcrux, which we'll talk about, gets destroyed at the same place that the whole story starts, which is King's Cross, 311. 311. All right. So then they take off from a place, or like a stand, which is a platform, which is
Platform.
a platform's a stage. They take off from that stage, that staging area. It's called 9 and 3. Now, there's your 9 and your 3, which is the inverse of 39 we're talking about now. And also, when you
Fantastic.
go back to,
Tying it in as usual.
yeah, and then also when you go, now that we've kind of, we see it because we're going to look at this number completely, but then guess what? The 93, as you see it in the reflection, now that reflects back to the Crowley character and theosophy and all that nonsense, because 93 in their symbols, let's have to code 93, it means that love is the law, love is under will. Will is
Yeah.
quite interesting because that deals with 39 as well. And guess what? Anti-will, to do or to not do, to be or not to be. All right. It also 93 directly tied through writings of Crowley to do as thou wilt will be the whole of the law. That's a symbol. If you see 93 Crowley writings, that's what he's saying. It's just shorthand for the
Also,
same
one of
thing.
the numbers of those planes that went, sorry, those
Yeah,
planes
Flight
that didn't
93.
exist, that, yeah, Flight 93.
Yeah.
That was the most famous of all the planes.
Yes. So then you
Coincidence?
look at no, there's no, is all just script, and it's like punch cards, old data punch cards. You can literally pull out the punch cards for what's being shown and just observe it, because all of this is done by, it's just a program being run. And once you can see the code for what it is, you simply just pull it up. So let's
The code of
continue. So
creation.
code of creation, it's all there. It's always, it can't help but be there. It has to be there. So that's another thing, Rick. It's like I've talked about this before. If people stop fighting with the script, because they're not going to do anything about it, they're not going to change nothing. It doesn't matter. Just observe. Just in the audience. Just watch and observe. You're going to actually get it a lot faster than you think you are. It seems like a very far distance now, but if you actually just stop fighting with the script, just stop arguing with the script and just observe this place for what it is, and just and see these numbers for, you're going to get it very quick, be actually on the outside looking in, and you won't fall for any of this anymore. So 9 3/4, what's interesting about 3 and the 4, guess what? That's 7, right? So 9 3 4, so 9 plus 7 is 16, 1 plus 6 is 7. All right. It's always going to be there. So then King's Cross Station, or 11, let no man steal your crown, is where they actually get on the train and they go off into Fantasyland. They go off to Hogwarts. so that their mind is taken. You see how it's a direct ship. So and then if and when now we're back to Hogwarts. So they get to school, blah blah blah, and they're off on their adventures. And so you have those three main characters, and you have the different kind of anti characters, which are fighting against. You not only have kind of the supernatural fight, but you also have just like the spoiled kids fight, which are from the different houses. Because you have these different. Well, they would be called different classes, I guess. What do they call them in the movie? What do they call them in the book? The different. They call them different houses because you have Gryffindor.
Yeah,
that type
Gryffindor.
of thing.
Yeah. Blah 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 blah.
Blah 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 blah. Yeah. So then, so I was thinking if you to continue this, if you then jump over to the Lord of the Rings side of the equation, you have your three main your three main characters. Even with the Lord of the Rings, your hobbits are your first. You do have you have like a fourth guy that you would have to go back to the original bar scene at the beginning to remember existed. So you have the three, including the little kind of Gollum character, and that he makes the third. So he kind of makes the he would be like the Dobby character from Harry Potter. So you have the Dobby character on the Harry Potter side, and you have the Gollum character, my precious.
Exactly the same. Extreme.
Yeah.
You're 100% right. They're exactly the same character.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then you have, and because you're dealing with the 3 and the 9, so you're looking at both of these as the on. So then what ring, the ring that rules them all, is manifesting and animating this idol 9? What is the 39? So within, for example, Harry Potter, you have the Deathly Hallows. There's 3 of them, and that's power, resurrection, and invisibility. So those then are like the will, the memory, and ego death. If the long night of the soul, that type of thing. Now, the students go to the magic wand shop. It's all Hollywood. They can get either a phoenix feather, a dragon heartstring.
Yep.
Like items that
you just dropped
the token.
You just gapped a bit. Then there was a bit of a blank there.
Okay.
So repeat what you just said.
Am I back
now? The magic
now?
wand shop. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you can either get the phoenix feather, which is the idea of spiritual resurrection. You can get, and that's later the order of the phoenix that ties into. But then you also can get a dragon heartstring, and that deals with just straight energy, like primal energy. So whoever the bearer of that one, or like a character, not so much a finesse. And then you have unicorn, which is kind of all the gentle folk would have that. The unicorn is more of a purity spell casting within the story. All right. That's kind of, and those are the 3 types of inserts you can get in your magic wand if you're dealing with the Harry Potter. Oh, and another big 3 in that, before we get to the 9 side of those stories, another big 3 is, I won't give them away in case you haven't seen it, but there's 3 unforgivable curses throughout the Harry Potter lore, and you'll find out that what's going on with that. So, but if you go to the Lord of the Rings, kind of where the 3 ties in, you have 3. Well, you have the 3 main races of the Fellowship, which are there would be the elves, the dwarfs, and man, so-called human, and and the 3 elven rings. Think about the 3 elven rings, Rick. They deal with fire, water, and air. Now, what's interesting is that the earth in this point, just like on this, going back to the 9 3/4 stage that the kids went on the train, this now is that 3/4. It's the three: fire, air, and water, and the fourth is the actual ground that they're walking on. Adventure is taking place, or the ground that they
The
have to
earth.
cover to get from one place to the other, the Middle Earth. All right.
Yeah.
So, and that of course is just another rendition of the hero's journey we're saying. And
Yep.
so, yeah, like the hero's journey, the return of the king was the second, and then the resurrection of Gandalf is another like storyline or arc that goes through
Yep.
there. Now, if you now dealing with dealing with 9, so you're dealing with those. Oh, did you have something? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm just going to say this. Like as Lord of the Rings was as massive as it was, in the 40s and 50s and 60s, particularly the 60s. Harry Potter is in. I'm going to have to say, I would say, way over 90% of households, if they've
Right.
got kids under 20, 25, they know exactly everything you're saying. They know
Right.
this stuff. It's been put into their psyche, so it's a powerful, powerful book for sure.
Well,
And the fairy
even
is
that,
it's powerful.
yeah, because we're dealing with 7.
Yeah.
Dealing. Remember, you can never. It's always going to be there, so it has a meaning. There's no. If you see something as a pattern, it makes sense to kind of find out what that pattern means,
Oh,
and
absolutely.
it is discernible because it's repeatable, and all you have to do is just look for it and not go too far away, because all these same characters that we talk about, they're not too far away in any of this. You know,
Yep.
the idea of Kabbalah, Wicca, or Crowley, Blavatsky, numerology,
Yep.
so-called
Constant.
Catholic or Jewish. You have 9 fruits of the spirit. Oh, you also have, guess what? In the Kabbalah, your Yesod, or Yesod, that's how you spell it. Yes, Yesod is the 9th. Orb, the idea of idol. So what you say yes to, all right, and OD,
Yep.
overdose on. If it's a lie, you're overdosing on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Interesting.
And in Wicca, the idea of, or what's really kind of Norse, uh, Norse mythology, you have uh, you have 9 realms.
Three. Yep.
Yeah, you have 9 realms, and you have Wicca. Um, we have to contact a witch, but they have. I know they have 9 sacred herbs and possibly some delicious spices, but at least 9 sacred herbs. That's a mainstay. And also, oh, we're going back to 3 and Wicca. You have the triple goddess idea, which is the maiden, mother, and crone. So that's your 3. And in alchemy specifically, you have the Negrito, Albedi, and so the idea of black, white, red.
Yep.
Black, white, and red. That's very interesting, because on either side of, let's say, black or white, really is just a cancellation of light on one side. The only difference between those two is the polarity change.
Yep.
For example, if you change the polarity of yellow, especially digital, if it's 255 yellow, it changes to blue, and blue to yellow. That's why you see a lot of blue yellow. The so-called is the Ukraine is a big blue yellow. The
Yeah.
Russian is
Yep.
a blue
Yep.
yellow. Well, because in
Yep.
the negative, the blue will change to yellow, and the yellow will change to blue. Therefore, it can also then be mixed to confuse or show you the same thing. It's almost like a digital way to flash lights at you, flicker lights.
Do you see,
Yeah.
like I do, and you just
Uh-huh.
mentioned before, the neon?
Uh-huh.
The neon is used it's all over the place. They're changing in Sydney. they often
Mhm.
have this festival of light, or what do they call it? But everything goes neon, purples and pinks. They're
Yeah.
always the same tones. At the moment, we're going into this color thing, and as no one knows about this more than you do,
Yeah.
we're seeing the colors changing into this neon system at the moment.
Well, yeah.
Is
So you're dealing with the Easter, the idea that even really it's a version of neon, but it's also the old version. The let's I guess analog would be a good way to call it. Before you have the digital neon, and then you have pastel. So you had
yeah,
they're both versions of the same versions of bleeding color, meaning that it's a color that looks like it's been bled out, and
yeah,
then is so yeah, it's quite it. Let's just say that it hits the eyes different. Soft color, it actually impacts them quite harshly. In fact, you notice it. You can't not notice it. So then that it kind of
no,
draws your
I mean
attention to it.
absolutely. It's
Yeah,
every. I really do notice it
yeah.
at the moment. The last 5 years.
Well, the thing is, if they went to too soft a tone, you wouldn't notice it. It would just bleed into the background. So then, really, what then is the brightest but neon? Because that's the manifestation of light gas. Remember, we talked about lighter than gases, and that the different.
Interestingly, that there was a movie called Neon Demon, I think, and it had Keanu
Mm-hmm.
Reeves
Yeah.
a few years ago. Quite a nasty movie too. Not, wouldn't recommend people watch Neon Demon because it's quite a nasty movie. But there's a thing about neon uh, and that gas. What is the gas again? Because we talked about this.
Well,
The number of the gas.
you have neon. Neon is gas itself. So then with Neon Demon, I noticed that that's I don't know that I've actually seen that.
Yeah, I haven't either.
However,
I just listened to reviews about it, and I thought, I don't know about watching that movie.
yeah, so
Keanu
yeah.
Reeves is in it.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So then, yeah. So if you're dealing with neon, or we talked about. Oh, what's interesting about
Argon.
that is the density is zero point 0.9. So it's also yeah. So
There you go.
yeah, it's
0.9.
that's quite interesting about that for sure. So yeah, I think I'll probably skip that Neon Demon because I already know what it's about. It's just it's that. So
5 years ago, again,
uh-huh.
all this neon started happening about five
Oh
years
yeah.
ago now, and that Neon Demon came out, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll look at it maybe in the future.
Well,
But
well,
yeah,
if you're dealing with if you're dealing with like I say, if you're dealing with the light realm, that's starlight because starlight are going to deal with this different type of uh,
yeah,
manifestation of gases. And I told you that semiconductor uses those gases because you cannot create what's above below without using the same material. That's why as above, so below. If you create something,
mm,
especially within the star system or light system, it has to use these different lights so that the audience has to be conditioned to see it so that
yeah,
it's because most people would turn away from neon if it's kind of rare. It's too bright, blah, I'll turn away. However, if it becomes the norm, then there's different data that can be given to the subject through neon light than through other forms of light because it's all wavelength. So if you're able to sit through neon light, or can be programmed into you. That's what's happening as you're being
yeah.
programmed because
I think there's something about this light that's to do with programming for sure.
well it's all called just like you put a program on, you turn a program on your TV. There's no mystery in that. All of it's programmed. Just like if you watch the first Star Wars, if you and if you watch the first Star Wars and then somebody, oh, there's guys with lightsaber, the guy who is programmed properly would be like, no, there's only 3, because the one guy watched the program what it is, didn't add something to it. The other person kind of watched the added details. So here's the thing, though, Rick, is that as he's programmed, because all the mass is going to be programmed anyway. However, there's still the randomness, how it's like 3 over 4, 9 and 3/4. There's still that randomness that's in the system, because almost everyone you run into does not want to bend a knee to the truth. They want to be the arbiter of what's true. Meaning, instead of just observing what's true and saying that's what it is, they want to say, unless I state, matter of fact, that is true, it's not true. Well, what you say, think, or feel doesn't matter to what's true. And I've told you before, Rick, the worst thing taught to anybody in their life is that their opinion matters. Their pizza, or the drink,
it's pretty
that they're going
controversial.
to.
It's a pretty controversial statement, though. That's for sure, isn't it?
Well, yeah. Well,
not to you.
I always,
not to you.
No, it's not, because
People
it's like, to me,
they're important. People want to think.
Well,
they're
they do,
important,
but it's you have to kind of look at what you're looking into, especially if you're looking at if you're kind of talking to the people we're talking to. They're past the the daily news cycle. They're past all that nonsense. So now then, if you want to actually see what's true and take the next step, what you think it should be doesn't matter to what it is. You just have to accept what you find. So you do the test, you do the observation, you get the result, and then that is what it is, and you just have to. And once you go with it, then you get it is what it is. And then guess what? Once you get past that, and sometimes it's shown through. Remember, we were talking Indiana Jones movies. We were talking about Harrison Ford.
Oh, yes,
disaster of a firewall. But remember in the third part, when they were trying to get to the Holy Grail, he had to take what's called a leap of faith, meaning that he had to take a step, and if the his support wasn't there to catch him, he was done. He was gone.
Yeah.
So it's called the leap of faith. Now, that's what has to happen because if you still hold to something you think is true, if you still have even a tenuous hold to the truth will have nothing to do with it. You might see a glimpse of it or a glimmer, and it's but then it goes away, and you can then continue to see the darkly, because you still have something you're holding to in the. Once you then leave the idea of that and just observe what it is, instead of saying they say this happened, look at it and you say, well, that isn't what I see. What I see is this X, Y, Z. And even if I'm not, even if I'm that's it, because that's what I observe to be true.
Yep.
And then if it's true, guess what? It is, even if you disappeared at that moment, it's still going to be true, because it doesn't have to do with you. You just noticed it. Like, noticing the truth isn't a big accomplishment. You just did what's expected, Yep. So then, if you go to 9, let's go back to 9, because I kind of was talking about Crowley, and how the flip of 39 jumps to 93, and that goes throughout all the so-called mystery schools. All of that uses the same inversion and all of that stuff. Or speech. David John Oates. Do you remember? He's from down your way. David John Oates used to do her speech on Art Bell.
That's right, he did too. Reverse speech, yeah. So he'd play a tape of someone saying something and then reverse it.
Yeah.
And he said, you'll find the truth, and whether you like it or not.
Well, that's So and Bell. So you'll have to go through the old Internet archives to find.
Yeah, no,
So his
he's
name's
surfaced
David John
not
Oates.
he. Yeah, what his stuff has surfaced on
Was it
a
David
few
John Oates?
shows.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, no, yeah. Well, not him, but what he's that particular reverse speech thing, and I think there's a big there in it. I think
Well, he's
uh,
got a website, davidoates.com. Take a look. But
that's it. Yep.
yeah, but he was he was biggest name for kind of this idea at that level. Then you have some people uh, uh, that do the rock and roll stuff, but that's been said and done. But then what I'm
Mm.
saying is that you have to look at it. So if you put 3-9, just place it in front of you, and then within the third dimension, walk around, and then
Yep.
walk behind it and through it. And every manifestation you make of that is what you look at, because then nothing can hide from it. So then, if in Harry Potter, the 9 or the idol is represented by the Horcruxes, Horcrux, crux,
Horcrux.
the crux, Crux. Well, it's
Yep.
Horcu. So Horcrux. Yeah, the Voldemort. He breaks himself up into, guess what? Seven different like items. Plus, there's a piece of him and Harry, and he's the final piece. So
Yep.
that's what makes up the 9. But you see that it's a 7 and the 2. You see the 7-2 also make the 7-7, which you see in this, and it's also right now on my computer 77. So it's
Another
quite
Crowley
interesting.
number. Another Crowley number.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's also
93,
it's also
77.
14 or 5, because you remember Rick. You look at the 7-7 and you know the intent of that. Then you say 7 plus 7 is 14. All right. Now you know the intent of that. That's the one standing before the door. Now
What's
then you go through the
seven
door.
by seven? 7 by 7 is also really heavy in a lot
Yeah.
of music back in the like Hawkwind had a song called 7 by 7, and
Right.
this is their Space Ritual album in 1972. There's a
72.
lot of stuff in that.
72, two
Yeah,
sevens. So
yeah.
then so imagine this, Rick, if you have a 7 in each hand, and then that's your 7-7, you bang them together, that's your 14, one before the door,
Yep.
and now plus 1 is 5.
5.
Your
Ballet.
senses. Now your 5 senses are now engaged in this thing. This thing,
Yep.
whatever that thing is, what idol, because an idol is the representation of time. Because guess what they call wasted time? Idle time, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So then, now there's also within Harry Potter on the 9 side. Remember the Weasleys, that whole crew that lives in that big kind of goofy house? There was 9 of them, and then what else was there? Oh well, on the pitch, a little quid pitch where they're riding their brooms around.
Quidditch
There's
pitch.
9 of them on
Yep.
team.
Oh no! Look!
So
Harry Potter is so full of stuff. It's not funny. I
yeah,
don't believe J.K. Rowling, and she added the K to her name. Her
yeah,
name
the
was,
11.
I don't believe she. I reckon that she's just the front woman for that novel. There's too much stuff in that for a single mother. Her whole backstory doesn't make sense to me
Yeah, I mean it's just
whatsoever.
it's a there's the idea that 2 minutes hate, then there's the reverse of that, and that's the idol presented, meaning that this work's going to come out regardless. It could come out anonymous,
Regardless, yeah,
but it's better than that we give you this thing to idolize, and then this thing can then do side business, can now represent
yeah,
this cause or that cause or this cause. Oh,
yeah,
this person says this. So they're all characters. So then in the Lord of the Rings, let's talk about the 9. You have the complete power is the 9 members of the Fellowship. All right, so that's your 9. You have the 9 Black Riders,
yeah,
and then so you see how you have. Oh, well, the 9 Black Riders are 9 rings of men. So then, because you have 9 rings of men,
Yep.
And so they represent the ego. All right. So kind of that, you have that idea. So then now the 39 together across the board, you have in Wicca, for example, Wicca, you 39s, or 30, you have 13 three times, 13 moons times 13 cycles, 9. That's the lunar, that's the lunar rebirth, deep feminine
yep.
mystery idea. That's in witchcraft. And anytime you're dealing with the female or the feminine cat, you're dealing with the moon. The idea of Eve, Lilith, right?
Yep.
Now, because Eve and Adam and Eve is simply the story, and
I just have to say, you're clipping. Sorry, Dave, you're clipping a little bit. I don't know if it's just me, but
okay.
Sometimes you talk closer to the mic, might be better, or further away.
Right.
I'll tell you when.
How do I sound now?
I will let you know. Good, fantastic.
Okay, so let's keep. Yeah, so I was doing fine. Still sounding good.
Yeah, we're talking about Lilith and the cat.
Well, Lilith, any of those, they all represent the same. It's like you can listen to people who run you around in circles, telling you this person is the same as that person is the same as that person. They never get to the point, man. Week after week, they're telling you, running you through all these different characters, but they're all the same character. It's representing a power. It's not the name are just incidental to the different cultures. But once you know what the power is, you don't have to be confused by the names anymore. Recognize it, no matter what they call it. So then you're kind of past that. Now Blavatsky and all of them kind of saw the body as the 9, which is the idol, and that's true as well, because your body is where it takes it. I think body follows your mind, and then the 3 is really simple in their mind, the Trinity, even with the Blavatsky theosophy, and it's also and the Matrix, and the 13, because we've talked about that before. Is really what they call a divine, or the one standing before the ring. And so if you imagine now a hobbit as the 1 and the ring as the 3, that's the 13. The hobbit standing, my precious, that 13 is also crown. So you see how all of this is at it as numbers, 1, 3 on a piece of paper. Look at it as a hobbit looking at the ring. That's 1, 3. Whatever way makes it easier. How I just know this, that meaning doesn't change. You know? So then, so then, guess what else would I tell you? I had a few jumping.
You're clipping again.
Clipping again? Okay, so
every now and then. Every now and then, but otherwise it's fine. But I will let you know, because you don't want this kind of information being diluted by the gaps in the audio.
So then we talked. We
already
about the
39 steps before the
we did talk about
steps by John
steps,
Buchan,
didn't we? Yeah. So have you looked at that movie, the Alfred Hitchcock?
Yeah. It was a Hitchcock movie, but we were forced to read it at school with Animal Farm and bits and pieces. So I always look at books that have been told we had to read at school as being there might be something in it.
So that's the 1915 The 39 Steps by John Buchan, whatever. Buchan. So that's we talked earlier, and the lead actor, Robert Donat. Yeah, he's like a man's Cary.
Man's Cary Grant.
Yeah, that's my observation. I think there's one year.
I guess so.
So I want to say Cary Grant's one. So then, the 39 Steps deals with Oh, do you remember 39 that they were watching as where the actual at the beginning where the main plot point takes place? They were watching Mr. Memory. Mr. Memory
Yes.
obviously deals with the
Yeah.
mind and his
The
powers,
mind.
and what was Dr. Memory's of memory? His trick was that he trivia questions from the audience. That was his little gimmick. So then you have, like we've been talking about all night, even the platform 9 3/4 they took off to school. You have this Mr. Memory act on the stage, which is the main point of focus before the story takes off. So basically,
Yeah.
in the movie, you go watch Mr. Memory with them, and then at that point is where the actual story takes off. You follow that,
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah, it's the same deal. There's so many. To me,
Just
it's looking and
yeah.
39. I want to say that steps there in 2010. Uh, that was a file 30 is what I was called. File 30 was it was a this kid they adopt this kid, and he turns out to be a hellion, a little a little devil child, and it deals with the idea
Like
of
what's that movie? Which the Devil's Child,
the
The
omen.
Omen,
Oh,
the little
it's case
Damien
39. Oh, I'm sorry, it's case 39. Sorry, and
Casey.
it's a Renee Zellweger
Oh
type
yes,
movie,
yes, 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 yes. Yeah.
and the very fraud Bradley. All right, so that's case 39, but that deals with the also the 39 manifesting as this Abaddon or Satan character, because Iblis is Satan, uh, which remember is Iblis, is the Islamic version of Shaitan.
To
So
me,
S-H.
if it looks like the same, because the I and the L are very similar,
Yeah,
in shape,
yeah,
digitally
yeah.
anyway.
Uh huh.
So as you say, it's the iblis and
Yeah,
ibis,
yeah.
very much in your face. Mm.
Well, yeah. If you remove the L, of course, remember it's like the manifestation of the soul. But then as you add the L also, if you just say, although it's the 12th letter or three, it's the 3G ring, it's the ring. Do you see? So then now
Yeah.
your soul has been possessed by this Shaitan,
Shaitan.
this ox. It's SH.
Yeah.
They want to. I want to say that they spell it Shaytan. So Shaitan is how
Isn't it
it's kind of
and there's
spelled.
high shaitan or high shaitan or something or other, and
Well, it's all
another, is it the
Satan. It's all
Muslim?
the devil.
Yeah,
It's all
same
the
same
same
thing.
thing. It's all the same
If it
thing.
looks like a duck and it quacks like a duck,
It's like a
it's a
duck.
duck. And yeah.
Yep, exactly. So then, yeah. So that's kind of you'll notice the manifestation of 30. So we kind of
Interesting.
covered the different, yeah, and of course all the different the 3 and the 9 make up a lot of the plot points of, well, pretty much everything, but very much in particular the Lord of the Rings and Potter, because they're two very similar story adventures, two
Hmm.
very similar, and in
Oh yeah,
fact,
absolutely.
yeah, and
And they interesting that they all came. So they like J.R.R. Tolkien and the guy that wrote The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, and another guy, or the part of a group called the Inklings at Oxford University in the 1920s, I guess.
uh-huh,
And they all came out with. There was a third guy. I can't remember the name of the third guy, but their books are extraordinarily popular in this today's culture, and that's Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe series,
yeah, that's
Harry
C.S.
Potter.
Lewis.
Sorry, it's very serious, Lewis. It's not Harry Potter, but the Harry Potter is a amalgam of all of
Mm-hmm.
those books, all into those 7 books, um,
Oh yeah.
that that have affected way more people on this planet globally than any other book, as far as I'm concerned, apart from the Bible. I hate to say that, but Harry Potter would be a recognizable, and the myth of the movies, the books, they sell out every event if they have having a Harry Potter themed thing. But the kids love it, and the parents
Well,
accept
the
their
thing about
children into it.
detail. Oh, I'm sorry. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Oh, I was
No,
going to
no,
say the
no,
thing
you go.
about detail, especially with the Harry Potter, is that just the the repeating of the three is important because it's the three rolls into the six, rolls into the nine. You see how it's all
Yeah,
interrelated.
exactly.
So then if you go to a nerd convention and they say, what are the three unforgivable curses, Harry Potter fan? And if you can't say Imperius curse, what's the other one? The Avada Kedavra. It's like abracadabra, but they say it different. They
Exactly the
say
same.
Avada
Exactly the
Kedavra,
same.
something like
Yeah,
that. And that
with a
symbolizes,
V.
if you do the Avada Kedavra, that's like you done wiped them out. There's no higher. That's like the atomic fake hoax atomic bomb, or the witching word is a Avada Kedavra. And I want to say the only uses it in the series is, of course, the bad guy, Voldemort.
Voldemort.
And then you have the Producious curse, which is really just, it's like a crucifix. Think about somebody putting somebody in like a spiritual crucifix without any,
Yep.
just that they explain. That's the other one. And then of course the Imperius. The Imperius is the curse that the riders use, because what it doesn't kill you, it doesn't cause you pain, it just controls you, so you can look like you, and they can maneuver you through Hogwarts or where they're trying to, and they can
Yep.
see through you.
That's the
They can see
media.
through
To
your
me, that's
eyes.
the media. The media today is
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
is that for
And
sure.
yeah, and the Ava Kedavra, death is when somebody walks up and throws a corpse on you.
Ah, really?
Oh yeah, yeah, it's right. They throw a corpse on you. You're minding your own business. You're token, and they walk up to you and they say, "Hey, did you hear about?" And then they throw a corpse on top of you. And I'm like, "Why'd
Yep.
you do that? Why did you tell me about some bullshit that I don't need?" Huh? Because if
Best
I
not to
look
do
into
that today,
this,
Joe. Best
if
not
I
to
look
do that
into
today,
this,
Joe.
if I look into this, and the first thing I see is a 7, we're
Which you're
gonna have a
going to.
problem. We're gonna have a
Yeah,
problem here,
and I
sport.
have I hate to say this, and a lot of people that have probably been your critic in the past will hear them say, "Well, they did. I did see a 7 in this thing, and there was a 7
Yeah.
years there, and
Do you know how many
you
times
might be. I think
I hear people reading something. Like they're saying, "Oh, look at this," and they start reading it. And, dude, do you not hear how many times you're saying it? How long is
43
it going to take for
people
you to actually
died.
unread?
430 people died.
Yeah,
In
430
20,
times they'll
yeah,
find. Why?
25 people
Oh,
died. Mm.
and then one of the big things, Rick. Uh, Back to the three. Remember they had the Tri Wizard tournament where they had
Yes.
The Dragon Challenge. What was the other one?
Oh,
Oh
I
well,
had to see
each
all
one.
these movies because I've, with my
Well, the book, yeah,
I have to say the word three, but I've got three children that were all obsessed with Harry Potter
mm-hmm.
and his books and the movies.
Oh
Sorry,
wow,
his books, her books, and the
yeah,
movies. Oh, I had to see them all. I've seen all of them. I was very concerned. I use the word concerned together
yeah.
when I watched the last two or three, what they were, the Deathly Hallows, and I was watching. I go, this is not what I want my children to be watching. Because to me, if you've got a great imagination, which I do, and you're 6 years of age or 3 years of age or five, because the parents are letting their kids watch this stuff, it will create a nightmare. Or particularly the Voldemort, and the last film particularly was very nasty to me.
I would say that the last, they split that up into 2 parts, didn't they?
2 parts, yeah.
Yeah, which is going to make your
Deathly
7
Hallows
2
1,
idea.
Deathly Hallows 2. Yep.
That's going to make your 7 2 idea.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. Yeah.
very, yeah, there you go, man. So, yeah, man.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, so just don't, like, that's what I mean by throwing corpse on somebody. It's like bringing death into the XYZ. There's so much stuff.
Allowing,
There's,
yeah, well, you're allowing children to watch what I call high level esoteric
mhm.
symbolism, and they're getting it into their beta system, which is, from 1 to 6. I think it was 1 to 6. I think
Well,
you run on beta. They're soaking it in, and they know this stuff in their head. But it's all bad. I would say a lot of Harry Potter's bad. But if you
it's all just telling you
de-occulting,
story.
because no,
Yeah,
you're de-occulting Harry Potter,
right, right.
de-occulting Harry Potter.
Well, you
Yeah,
have the dragon. Well, you had they have these tests now to get kind of go. You had the test of bravery and physical skill type of thing. That's the dragon.
yeah,
Then you had one of kind of where you had to almost, what's the best way to say it? Almost offer yourself in a way of a self-sacrifice, and
yes,
that was the one that took place at the lake. Then the final one, and there, because this one gets a little bit complicated, but it's physical as well as mental, and it's the maze challenge, and so that those are the three. But also, if other threes, you had the if you recall, Fluffy, the guardian of the Philosopher's Stone in the first, uh,
the
he was a
three-headed
three-headed
dog.
dog. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you had that.
Notice the
So,
maze. The maze, though, has been in kids' heads. They get the Maze Runner movies. You had the
mhm.
maze in The Shining. These are archetypes that are just being fed into your head all the
I'm gonna
time. And
go
Harry
out
Potter had
on.
the mate.
I'm gonna be short, very safe. Most people watch The Shining or have claimed to have watched The Shining cannot tell you what The Shining is. They'll somehow convince themselves that Jack Nicholson has something.
Yeah.
Instead of the kid, that Danny is the one who is possessed or who has The Shining, as well as
Notice
the cook.
This is biblical
Yeah,
Dan.
Dan.
They
Yeah,
always
so
have
it's
that.
like
Yeah.
most people think that The Shining is Nicholson going crazy. That's not even what The Shining means. So it's just
No.
even the most simple connection. The title of the movie, they'll miss the connection to the story, and most of it's not their because the movie kind of uh, treats Danny like an imbecile, to where he does a lot of
Yeah.
physical acting, like, but no describing kind of get. Which there
Yeah.
was a TV special which was put out, which I told you about. That actually explores the Danny role quite in depth, and then
Oh, I saw that.
what the
Yep.
actual what it means to have the Shining. So that they actually did a pretty good job on that side, although it did run a little long in the tooth. But
Yeah.
most
Yeah,
of
well,
his
because
work
Stephen King
does.
was bitter and twisted about Kubrick's version. He thought that he'd been done over and ripped off. Didn't use the novel to the way he did. To me, the one I saw on that was apparently the real version of The Shining was no
Uh-huh.
way as interesting to me as Kubrick's version. I thought Kubrick's version was way better actors, obviously, but it had Danny. You're right. Danny gets more a treatment in that the official version that you're talking about
Yeah,
on the
from the
TV
TV
version.
show. Yeah. Well, at least then the audience knows The Shining. If you watch The Shining, you
Yeah,
get completely. I would say I would love to even interview today while theater watching the Nicholson. Explain to me what The Shining. I would not expect
yeah.
good things. So, oh yeah,
Possibly
man.
not.
No,
Oh, you
yeah,
done it
most of
again,
them.
man.
Yeah. So that's kind of how we're looking at all that stuff. You just take Oh, well, we're right. We're right at the 9 plus 3 is what? 12. That's the 3G7. So that's the mind. We're at the mind door because 40 is the next episode. 40 or 4 Dalet. So now going into the 40s, it's gonna bring in a different layer, because each layer, each set of 10 kind of allows you to, as long as you've kept up, allows you to talk about more ideas even at deeper levels. So expect
Fantastic. 40, so
even
40 will be
more
next
stuff.
Sunday.
Yeah, because we're still running a slow pace right now. We're still running kind of knees barely off the. We need to get them knees up next week.
Knees up, Mother Brown.
Knees up, get them up. You're gonna have to do show what we're made of. So so that's gonna be the Dalet episode. The idea finally through that door. Now we're in the double digits, so you just kind of know you double digits. So now you've gone around the bend. If you're drawing this out, this pattern's now gone around almost 4 times. So imagine the complexity. Imagine how far you went into the story, into the, and if you haven't kept track of where you started, how quickly you can get lost in the details. Because notice 4 reflected is 4 by 4, which is 8 for details. What you eat, what you ate, what came in the door. Ding dong, DoorDash. The idea of just grabbing your bag at the door. Just you have to just that amazes me.
Any of the regular listeners, if you want to hear the first 22 episodes on truthmeets.com, where we did with a bit of production, a bit of music at the end, but the very first, particularly the first, I would say the first 10 episodes, the most important to get into this mind, the computer mind stuff, right, and the numbers 1 to 10. And then I think we did another 10 after that, and then they're on YouTube only. Yep. But highly recommend go to truthmeets.com and have a listen to the original first shows we did, Dave, Jay, and I. Yep. Not the first shows we've done together. We've done shows, we've been together for many years before that, but highly recommend go and have a listen to those, because you need to get a base in either your numbers 1 to 9. I just know 1 to 10, even though 10.
Right, yeah, 10's the IO. 10's where it gets input.
It's the IO.
Yeah, that's where
1
where
plus
it goes
O
in
plus
or
1
out.
plus O plus 1 plus O.
Yeah.
Highly recommended.
Do you know what I was gonna before we scoot? I was gonna actually, when I last talked to you, I was thinking to myself, we were gonna talk about that new Superman movie, which was coming out.
Do yourself a favor, because my son, who's at university at the moment, the youngest son, he said he's watched it twice now, and he thinks it's good. But he said there was some he queried bits of it, and this is James Gunn, the director who did Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was, as a parent, concerned about some of the stuff James Gunn was bringing up during those movies. But what do you think? Have you seen it?
No, I was looking at just the write-ups on the script, the old Hollywood, and I noticed that they're delving into the kind of the Nephilim idea, the super beyond the Superman kind of from outer space kind of thing, but the Superman mating with a woman, and creating some kind of hybrid. So and then of course that's the plan of his father, and of course his fight then is to do good. So he has this, and I guess this is really just it's always been this, but a lot of the earlier ones never kind of told you about that interest. Most would just think he's like this monk character. In fact, in some of the films, Lois Lane could barely, get him to touch her. Right? She had to play the role of the 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 aggressor when he was in the. So they've always kind of played this like standoffish role. But so it kind of gets into that, and so that's more biblical idea and really kind of Book of Enoch type stuff that's coming in. So I would expect, and I'll look for more.
Love Book of Enoch, my favorite book.
Yeah. I'll look kind of in depth, especially if he's the galaxy guy. But there's going to be more in depth stuff than just what's kind of seen by a person who's going to look at a movie.
Oh no! Apparently,
leaving a building in a single bound.
Yeah, apparently, from all reports, and I just go with people that's seen it. It's good. It's it's got, obviously it's not to be taken too seriously because it's got the super dog as part of the characters again. So it's much more going to the original.
That's almost like bringing Scrappy Doo out of the. Remember when they brought Scrappy Doo onto?
Can you believe? Yeah, look, I was a big
Scooby
Doo fan in the
that
70s.
did him in.
And
Scrappy
they
never recovered from
that. It's like the Flintstone kids with Pebbles and Bam Bam coming out
that was
as
terrible.
major characters. Terrible and
terrible.
Really bad. You would have been around watching those stuff as I was.
Oh, of course, I was like, man, I'm out of here. I went out and I jumped on my little Huffy. I jumped on my banana seat bike, and I just rode down the street with my ape hangers. Did you have ape hangers on?
I was there. Yes, I did. And I had the banana seat, and I had a reflector on the back of it, and I had a gear stick that you actually changed from 1 to 3, and this fits in with the show, on your gear stick on the
lucky
front of the back in the day.
You're lucky, man. You were one of them kids. I used to watch your type from across the way with my single pedal speed, but I'd go and do a little couple burnouts just to show you. You know when you used to kick the brake back, and then you just slide sideways. Think you did something?
That was a cool thing to do. That was a cool thing in the 70s. Be told, if you're going to be a cool kid, you had to be able to kick the pedals back and skid on that particular angle just to pull up.
Yeah, for sure. Then cool. after that, I got my. I went ahead and got a mongoose.
Wow!
Now, the top of the BMX bikes that were big in Southern California at the time was you had the mongoose was kind of low high end. So you had high end BMX. You had the mongoose. The middle tier was Diamondback, and then you had the top tier, which is Redline. That was like your top.
Redline, yeah.
There was one kid with a railroad hat that used to ride around Redline, and he used to like always be thinking he's something. Cats me this little railroad conductor's cap on. I was like, oh, look at that guy, and he'd just be riding that Redline on the street. At you, he wouldn't even do any jumps or anything.
Like, dude, I can just imagine you, Dave J on the BMX, circa 77, 78.
Yeah, I did that. Absolutely I did I had a YZ. I had a YZ80.
I know that bike, man, and they were extraordinarily fast for a kid to be riding.
Yeah,
and they had the power band, whatever it's called.
Yeah, you get some air. And then I had an XL 250 point.
Great bike.
Oh yeah,
I know them all. Yeah. I know them all. That's a Yamaha.
And then I had what was the other one? Oh, well, when I was at Semiconductor, I was working at Semiconductor. I had a Ninja 650. That was pretty sweet.
Wow. Who made them?
Ninja, was it Kawasaki?
Kawasaki Ninja, yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I was around. I remember that. I just remember it was everyone cared about your brand, and everyone had their own brand, even though Suzuki, Kawasaki, Yamaha, Honda, and then the a few other brands. Basically the same bike, but just everyone was part of their cult. You know, you're either Yamaha, Honda,
Yeah.
Kawasaki, Suzuki, and or Redline.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
When I was
Mongoose, da, 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 da.
so that was one of the things I gave this dude. I put it into the paper. Over here they call it Craigslist, where you just want local ads. So I put a
Yep.
local ad, Ninja 650, blah blah blah. I put $500 or something, and then the guy came by and I said, just take it. If you can take it, just take it. Because I was getting rid of
For
everything,
free.
and he was like,
Whoa.
he was next to no. So I said, if you have a license, he did. I was like, you can take this. Then there was this other guy picking through the trash. And I said, what are you doing, man? And he's like, I'm just doing the whatever. I said, don't worry about all that. You should come. I said, it kind of sounds like, I'm like, why don't you take and just take what you want out of it? I said, why don't you take those 2 sets of skis, man? Because those are, you can get 6 or 7 bills a pop for those. Because I used to
Hey, I
be a
wish
big
I'd come
time.
round to your garage sale, Dave.
Yeah.
I wish
Well,
I'd
that was
been at your
kind of when
garage sale.
I gave it all up, man. Back in the, remember when
And
I told you all
you'd
this
found
stuff
the
happened?
light.
I
You'd
gave it all
found
up. I just
the
said,
light.
enough's enough. So I opened it up. I said,
Yeah.
take what you want. Because, dude, it would have cost more to try to get. So I'm like, just take it.
Yeah.
But I used to be a big time skier, man. Big time skier. I had different ski sets, different conditions of snow, depending on how cold it was. I'm like, okay, I need this one. That's how much of a. When I was working in semiconductor, they just used to give, just here you go, here you go, here you go. Is that enough? You want more? Here you go. So it's like, but then you have
You
to
at the
then,
boom of the computer
yeah, yeah,
stock
I sure was.
age.
That's right. When I got out of the Navy, I did 10 years in the Navy, and I did close to 17 years in semiconductor. And then I did
Wow.
my one man cannabis shop for many years. And then, so what I did was at the end of the cannabis shop is when I gave that's when we went back to the Philippines and then I came back and broke as obviously, but I came, that's when we, Florida, of course, there for several
Florida.
years in Arizona, but still broke as a joke, but it's just the kind of way it is. It just works out.
Hey man, to me. I'm not a money person. I've never been a money person. I should be and easily could have been a multi millionaire just by buying 3, 4 houses, which I was given the opportunities to do. Never did it. And do I regret it? No. To be honest, I just always say that you've got to keep functioning. You've got to keep doing stuff physically
Well, I
till
have a couple.
till you.
Yeah, I have a.
Mm,
Yeah, otherwise you drop. What I do is keep busy. Is I finance, because the money I do make is that I between my we spend most of it, send most of it to things.
the
And
Philippines.
yeah,
Yeah, you've
Philippines.
got
That's where
water
I'm.
pumps.
That's all
You've
kinds of stuff
made
going on there.
people happy. You've
Yep.
created people to
So,
live through your sacrifice of going to work, and so you've done your job. You're doing a job, and it's a
yeah.
fantastic job.
Well, what I
Um,
did was, and I heard you talk another station about crypto, and
yes.
this is what I did with back a long time ago, because I watched things, and I noticed that on Godlike Productions, Lunatic
Mm,
Outpost, and Above Top Secret, they were talking XRP and XLM. And of course,
yep.
Bitcoin I already knew about, because a guy that I used to be in business with, he would supply me with buds for my business. Kind of, we had he was a
Symbiotic relationship.
yeah, he was a supplier, call it.
Mm,
He was into mining Bitcoin early, like mining, where he had all the processors set up.
yep.
So then I was like already aware of. Then later, I XRP was at. I kept seeing these people talking about this is many, and so I said, okay, I will, because I have nieces and my son. So, and I said, so I'm the code 3. So 3,000 for my son, and 1,000 for each one of my nieces
Of XRP.
Of XRP coins.
Whoa.
And at the time, like 0.0 something or other. It's just they were just pennies. So then I picked up 7,000 of those, and it wasn't even all that much at the. And so then I still have all that. It's still all in wallet.
Yeah, because Ab
And
suggested
yeah.
that that Dave J's too smart to have not got himself involved with some crypto.
Well, what's going to
And so
happen
obviously
though is, and what's going to happen is that I have 7,000 of those. Is 1,000 is going to be given to each one of my nieces in the once it because here's the thing, Rick. It's just that's the way it's going. It's that I'm not. It's just I'm not fighting it. I'm not here to fight it. I care less. But if they're going to be in the system and they're going to have to use it, guess what? They each get their 1,000. Just give me your deal. Boom, 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 boom. Then my son, here's your 3. I'm 0 at the door. I'm done. And then I did my thing. You know, because I'm not even all out that much. I'm only out a few bucks at the all started because it wasn't even expensive at the time. Yeah.
Well, look at Bitcoin just went for, I think, one in Australia, I think it's 17 or 1800, 17,000 for one or something or other. It's way more.
If you can get the secret to all that is though, I mean, it's all kind of, you have to have a utility. And here's what kind of held me back. A utility means how do you use it? How do you use it? How do you use it to buy? Now, I did an experiment because you know how I like to observe things and I like to talk about it, do it. Now, what happened was during the COVID years, right at the very beginning when it first kind of was starting to it was in the news. This was at the same time that I had bought those, so it was a long time.
5 years ago.
Yeah, it was just pennies. It wasn't even much. So, what I did was I said, I need to move because I was in folks' home business, Florida, that I didn't, all them nurses are crazy. They all took the shot, that stupid shit. So I'm like, well, I'm not going to be doing that. So then I said, I'm not long for this business, obviously, because it's just going to keep on pushing. So I said, I got to get away out of here. Guess what? So I'm thinking, what did Jesus say? Just to the fish, just point at the fish, go get it out of his mouth. So I said, okay. So then I'm like, well, you have this crypto kind of Coinbase was brand new at the time. So I downloaded and I put in some my seed money was $500. No, I'm sorry, $250 on the seed money first started. It was $250 on this project. I was going to do $250. And I said, okay, now what I did was I started to watch the numbers and I got stuff so if I saw it being talked about on these different sites I told you, I would go ahead and pick it up and then keep it for days and dump it. And what happened back then was when Coinbase first started, they used to let you change from coin to coin without incurring any fee, no fee whatsoever. So I piled that up and I piled up $5 grand. All right, after really only after because I just kept going, and all the little shit coins, and they call them meme coins and shit coins, because XRP wasn't moving. It was a dud for the longest time. Just so you, it was a
What's
dud.
What's XRP worth now?
Yeah, I would have to. It's doing better than when I bought it for 18 cents. I'll tell you that. So so yeah. So then when the what was I even saying? Oh, so then
We're talking
so
about
then
XRP.
yeah, so then what? No, I needed a utility. I had these shit, and they call them meme coins spread out, and I needed to consolidate them, but I needed to be able to spend it somehow because otherwise it's meaningless. It doesn't mean anything. You
Yep.
can't spend it. So then what I did was I noticed that they had a USDC, which is a kind of dollar, one USDC coin, $1 US that transfer. They had and Coinbase had a beta debit card. So I applied for that,
Yep.
got it. And dude, I put all of I liquidated all of meme coins and all of that into the other account. And and that's when you your fee at the time, which
Yep.
Coinbase was at the
No
time
fee.
new, so it was quite next. It was like almost nothing. Now it's quite different. Back then, it wasn't like next to nothing. And then it went onto this card. We traveled U-Haul, hotels. We went to all through Florida, through all these different places, to making our way to Arizona. And guess what? They didn't know the difference when I slid that card. They would what it was tied to. As long as it registered, it didn't matter.
Fantastic.
So that proved that worked. Then what happened was I got here. I still have just when I turned it so that it can't be used. And then so it paid. It did what it paid for. What it was supposed to pay for, was to escape from Florida because
You did the right thing then.
yeah, it all worked out. And so but the thing is that before I would say anything, I had to do the whole process, meaning to spend it to actually get something.
Yeah.
And that was proven. So it's like, hey, it's all mammon. It's all currency of this world.
Yeah,
This
you
world's hell.
can't take it with you.
As you
Just
know, it's
remember,
all
you can't take it with you. You can't
well, it's
take it
all
with
hell.
you.
This is all hell in. So it's like I'm not fighting the existence here. Whatever they want to use, if you know whatever this world wants to use to say this is worth something, that's what I do.
Yep.
Like I say, to change nothing. Just here to. That's all. This is where they're at is hell. They notice
Yep.
the numbers fine, and they know the input and the output and the intent of that. They can figure all of this out. The reason being was, I have a second story which I told about horse racing, and this was when I was testing the 7. This was even earlier. This was back when I was still in. I went to Hollywood, which is just outside of it, and I was
Yep.
watching the horses run, and I was with my friend Larry, and I said, Larry, we're gonna make some money by using the 7 enough to go out to dinner.
Hey.
All right.
Hey,
So
yes,
then
I like
I
that.
waited. Yeah, I watched the different races, and when I did the races, the first race I just needed I needed the horse to win, which it did. The second race I needed it to place, which it did. I turned in those tickets, and we made enough money to go out to Applebee's.
Fantastic.
So I mean, it's not obviously not fortunate, but it was enough
Whatever.
to do two things: to one, prove the system, and then to eat. Because here's what I
Loaves
know.
and fishes. Loaves and
Yeah,
fishes.
yeah. Here's what I know for a fact, though, Rick, is if you abuse that power ability of sight, it's going to be taken. So I knew that intrinsically, that I can test it and I can verify it's true and I can get a result. But then if I said, I want to turn this into a thing and do it for selfish reasons, it would
Not work.
Yeah. So then I was also approached by a law firm from wanted me to do voir dire for me to sit in the court, listen to the witnesses and tell them which one, not the witnesses, but the jurors, potential jurors, tell them which one's bullshit. And I said, I could do that. I'd be correct. However,
Using the 7 code.
yeah, Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
And then I said it will all work, but I said I'm not going to participate in a system alone. It's not going to. But I'm not the system. So
I
I
have
said
to say,
I
you started clipping again.
uh,
This the last
I was going
few
to say I
minutes.
could do it, but I'm not going to do it.
Good on you.
Yeah. So that's what I told him. So there's been lots of opportunities, but it's like this place will you if you to. And at some point it stops even trying, which that's where I'm at now. It
Mm.
it just stops trying. But until you get to this point, it's going to keep trying to get you. You know?
Yep.
Just when you think you're out, it pulls you back in.
Absolutely. And look, again, if I could have made several really simple decisions, and I would be with many. I would not have to go to work. I would not have to do any of the things I have to do. I'd be happily rolling in the money. But would I be any happier? Would I be
No.
any more spiritually evolved? I don't think so.
No, because
I
I
don't-
wouldn't have nothing if you were some filthy rich Australian.
Exactly. And I can tell you, I can promise you now, and I can give you my honest word here, and you'll be able to hear it. I My only worry on this planet is money coming in because I do have expenses, and that does concern me sometimes. But usually, you do well, the ask for help, divine help.
Mm.
Mention Jesus a few times. You mysteriously well, not mysteriously, it happens and you just exist. But I do think you've got to keep, no matter, even if you had all the money in the world, Dave, and you could give all the money to everyone, you're not actually helping yourself by having all that money. You've got to be always working for something or other. You need to
Well,
have a purpose.
well, Rick, that's true because Rick, when I was ready to end, I had I had three. I had a motorcycle, the 2,800 square foot house in Cali. I had the hot tub. I had all.
Nice.
So it doesn't make you happy at all.
No,
Period. I don't have any of all. I don't have that anymore. I'm alive. I'm
but
actually
you're happy and you're
yeah.
spreading
Well,
out.
I
You're
left a
spreading the
state. I left
information.
a perpetual state of death and decay and figure eights, and now I'm alive, and I will be free.
Exactly.
So there,
Exactly.
yeah. So
Forever, yeah, absolutely, and that's what we've got to keep it reiterating.
so I'm
And
past.
look,
I'm
we have to
past.
do a show. We have to do a show, and I would like to do a show on what you feel, what we're going to enter into the kingdom of heaven, what it's going to be, and what do you
Well,
think?
here's the thing, though, Rick. I could tell you that, but it would be a waste of my time and yours because I'm already there, and so
Oh,
the
there you
reason
go.
that we're speaking, the reason that we're speaking, the way we're speaking, is because uh, if you were with me, we wouldn't be doing this. Do you see? And also,
Yes,
if
bro.
listening with me, they would be doing it on their own. They'd be so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm already there. So it's like most of the people you run into, most
Good
of them
answer.
that you talk to, are going to be spiritual corpses, meaning that you could speak to them 10 minutes today and go away for 10 years and come back and speak to them and nothing will have changed.
Same thing. Yeah.
They'll have
I,
nothing to offer. Meet.
I've been
It's all
thinking
an
about
illusion.
this. Yeah, I've been thinking about this particular subject and how um, people, they use the word non-player character
Mm.
sometimes. We're surrounded by non-player characters like on the computer realm, and sometimes I do think that I see that. Look, there's people out. You're actually dealing with entities that are roaming around. They've got physical being. They've got a, they can
Well,
talk
they
to
have a
you, and they
borrowed
can.
body. They're borrowing
Yeah,
bodies because they're controlling the
that's what I'm
minds.
saying.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the Cruciatus curse of used. They're being animated. They're being
Yeah.
they're being animated to do
And
the
when you
will of
actually
their
bump into
father.
people, exactly. And so in the real world, which I am part of for sure,
Uh-huh.
the what that we are at the moment, when I occasionally you bump into somebody and you talk to them, and you know by their eyes, you can see that they're 100% awake. They're a physical being. They are going to move on to the next realm. There's other people you just deal with, and you think you are just an absolute empty vessel. There's
Well, that
nothing
goes
in
back to the
you
wheat and the tares.
that's
It
in.
also
Yep.
goes back to the separation of Genesis 1 through 2, 3, and of
Yep.
course where Genesis 2:4 starts. The Yahweh character; those are His children.
Yeah.
That's his. Those are His children. They're not going anywhere.
Empty
Once
vessels.
their miserable little stops, they dissipate.
Hmm.
Period. No big deal. Nothing's going to change nothing. That's why they're so mad, because they know that they literally grow
Yeah,
by
the
the
anger
day.
and the anger in their eyes too. When
Yeah, they grow
when they
older by
realize
the
that.
day, because
Yep.
that they know at the end they simply will dissipate, knowing no
And won't
truth,
ever.
no life,
Yep.
and have no love. They will
Yep.
simply be gone, dissipate. Like Jacob's ladder. If you've ever seen a Jacob's ladder, when the spark gets to the end of the two poles, it goes off and it dissipates. It just goes away.
Yep.
So that's
Absolutely.
it is
I see
what
it
it
all the
is.
time. I see it all the time, and I'm now realizing now. And yeah, the word NPC is great if you're into computers, but this is a real thing. You're actually dealing with people out there that are just that they're only there physically. Their mind is not of the next world. They are spiritual voids, literally void
Right.
of
And
any
in
spiritual.
communication, if you clear the line, get off the line, clear the line. Clear means, or clear reduces to, get, you guessed it, 39. So,
Perfect ending to the. Hey, Dave, we'll end the show on that
yeah.
wonderful tie in there.
All right.
But we'll
Well,
be back next week for number 40,
40, the door,
40
the Dalet,
Bongversation.
weigh in. All right.
The
So I'm
way
going
in,
to send
man.
out the bot. Have a great day, everybody.
Hey, and everyone that's listening, fantastic. Hope the sound wasn't that bad. It was clicking a bit, but the actual real truth comes through in the end,
We'll
as
see.
usual.
We'll see what they say.
Uh,
We'll see. All right. Cheers, everybody. Talk to you. Bye
Be
bye.
blessed.
Be
Bye.
blessed.